In this installment, we're going to be going over Week 13 best bets, giving you my top plays and my leans for Week 13. Let's get into it. Hey, yo! It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to give you the winning ingredients for your Week 13 best bets. I'm going to be very quick and concise, giving you my top plays for each and every one of these Sunday games on Week 13. But before we deep dive into that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetsJetsD. Don't forget about that TikTok at Chef_D91. And don't forget about that Patreon. All those links will be provided down below. And that Patreon is spitting out fire, so sign up now. All right, we're going to start off at the 1 o'clock time slot. Starting off with these Tennessee Titans here going up against the Philadelphia Eagles. We have a -4.5 spread in favor of the Eagles, 44 over and under total, and a -205 money line if you want the Eagles, +175 on the Tennessee Titans as well. In this game here, we have a team where the Tennessee Titans struggle against teams over 500 winning percentage. Okay, so if you're looking at their record, they have taken advantage of every lower echelon team. This is the top tier here in the Philadelphia Eagles. I think that they're going to 100% win this game. I love the Eagles at home against the Tennessee Titans, and I think they're going to cover as well. I think it's going to be too much for the Tennessee Titans to withstand what they're going to bring to the table. Plus, a little bit of revenge on A.J. Brown's side. He wants to get in the end zone and stick it to the Tennessee Titans. So I love the Eagles in this game. Next game, we have the New York Jets going up against the Minnesota Vikings. Here, we have a scenario where we got a very good offense in the Minnesota Vikings, but a poor defense. All right. And then for the Jets, we have a competent offense that can run the ball, and they have a game manager quarterback right now. Mike White is looking like he could at least run the offense, and we have an elite defense. So it's probably going to come down to fourth quarter situation, and we're talking about who is going to make mistakes. All right. Give me the +3 points in the better defense, and at least I believe that defense can at least stop the Minnesota Vikings offense. I don't know what the Minnesota Vikings defense can do on the other side of the ball. They have struggled. They have allowed 340 yards passing the past 3 weeks, and that includes Mac Jones. So they have looked absolutely atrocious. They've gotten lucky, and I think the New York Jets are going to take advantage of that. So give me the +3 in this game on the road for the New York Jets at +130 as well at the money line if you're willing to take that risk. All right, next game, we got the Cleveland Browns at -8 with the over-under of 46.5, -350 if you want the Browns on that money line. If you're looking at the Texans, +8 is -110, and on the money line is +290. This is a revenge narrative here with Deshaun Watson going up against his former team in the Houston Texans that really drug his name through the mud with all the allegations and the massage this and massage that. This has been waiting. They did this on purpose. They scheduled this for his first game back on purpose. We know what the NFL was up to. So, is Deshaun Watson going to deliver? I think he is. So, give me that -8. I think they destroy the Houston Texans. Deshaun Watson is going to make and prove a point to the NFL and to the Houston Texans that he is back. And definitely, I think they're going to cover that -8. I like the -350 as well on the money line if you're not willing to take the points. All right. And then over under, I don't think the Houston Texans can keep up pace. I think the Browns are going to be scoring majority of the points, so I would go and lean towards that under. All right. Next game will be the Washington Commanders going up against the New York Giants. We have an NFC East battle here, and we have road favorites in the Washington Commanders, -2 on the spread, -125 on the money line, over under of 40.5. All right, we have two defensive teams right here between the Commanders and the New York Giants. In this particular game, we have a Commanders team that is elite in stopping the run. That's been their bread and butter during their winning streak the past couple weeks, and that's going to lean towards Daniel Jones, forcing him to throw the football with not a lot of pass catchers around. The Giants will have to rely on Lawrence Cager, Miles Marek, Richie James Jr., Darius Slayton. Not that type of good wide receiver help for Daniel Jones. And we're talking about a top tier Washington Commanders defense with Chase Young back. I think the Commanders take advantage of this situation, and they prove their dominance. I like them on the money line. All right, we're going to stay away from the point spread. In division matchup, it could get really ugly, but if I had to choose on an over-under, I would choose the under. I do not like the New York Giants offense, especially the fact that if they take away Saquon Barkley, it's going to be in the hands of Daniel Jones, and that's going to be a big question mark. All right, let's move on to the Denver Broncos against the Baltimore Ravens here. Minus 9.5 spread for the Baltimore Ravens. Over under on the 39.5. And if you want the Baltimore Ravens on the money line, is minus 425. If you're looking and you believe in the Denver Broncos here, if you think they could take the points, plus 9.5 at minus 110. And if you want them on the money line, plus 340. All right, now I get it. The Baltimore Ravens let a lot of people down in that game against Jacksonville. But here, this has been a team that has proven week after week that the Broncos do not have it. Russell Wilson is not the answer. And I think the Baltimore Ravens get things back on the right track, especially at home. So I'm going to take Baltimore Ravens to cover that 9.5. If you can bump that down to 3.5, you probably get it around that minus 300, or the minus 6.5 for them to cover at least a touchdown. I would go with that route as well. If you want to just take it down just a little bit and you don't want to take that minus 400, but I definitely do think that the Baltimore Ravens 100% win this game. I have no trust in the Denver Broncos, especially with the team that is decimated at the running back position and wide receiver position. No trust in Russell Wilson. The teammates are not showing up for his birthday party. There's a lot of question marks there. So give me the Baltimore Ravens in this game. All right. Next game, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars against the Detroit Lions. Two poor defenses, and that's why you see a total right here of over 51 points. All right, that's why, because we got two bottom tier defenses here in the Jaguars and the Detroit Lions here. Minus one, it's pretty much a pick 'em here. All right, this is a clear-cut pick 'em game, and I want to rely on the more veteran quarterback here. We got Trevor Lawrence. Yes, he's looked great the past couple weeks. And then Jared Goff on the other side. He has a top tier wide receiver in Amon-Ra St. Brown, a reliable running game. Jacksonville has question marks. All right, Christian Kirk, yes, he should have a great game. And then number two, we don't know if Travis Etienne's going to play. They're going to be relying on Jermichael Hasty. All right, there's a clear talent gap here between the Lions and the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is definitely a winnable game for the Detroit Lions. Give me them on the money line going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Right, next game. At the 1 o'clock slate, we have an NFC North battle between the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers. All right, if you want the Packers, minus 4.5 on the spread, over under on the 45, and if you want the Packers at the money line, it's minus 200. Bears on the other side, plus 4.5 if you think they can cover that spread at home, and if you want them on the money line, it is a plus 170. This one should be point blank period. We know Aaron Rodgers. Yes, he came off a very embarrassing performance the previous week. They really tried, but it was just too much for them to handle. But this is where things get right for the Green Bay Packers and get right for Aaron Rodgers as well. Aaron Rodgers is 24-5, including playoff games against the Chicago Bears. He absolutely owns this team. If you want to have any lock of the week for week 13, it's going to be the Green Bay Packers, especially against the Bears that have dislocated shoulder quarterback in Justin Fields. He has hamstring problems. They're on a bye the next week after, so any type of injury, they're going to pull Justin Fields. Number two, there is no weapons, all right? Darnell Mooney, out for the season. Equanimeous St. Brown, out for the season. Chase Claypool is their number one wide receiver, and the Steelers, who is known for wide receivers, kicked him to the curb. All right, so it's literally just David Montgomery and Darrington Evans. All right, that's the whole offense. Maybe some Cole Kmet, but this is a smash spot for the Green Bay Packers. I think they covered that 4.5 as well. All right. Next game, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Atlanta Falcons. All right. This game is very, very intriguing, very tightly contested, but I'm going to lean towards Mike Tomlin. All right. If we're looking at this, Falcons are allowing to the running back position over 130 yards per game and 4.3 yards a carry. We saw the previous week where the Steelers were able to establish the running game. We saw Benny Snell get cooking. We saw Najee Harris get a touchdown. If all the reports come clear for the Pittsburgh Steelers in that running back position, it only bodes well for Kenny Pickett. If they can get that running game going, that's going to open up things for Deontay Johnson and George Pickens. We have Atlanta Falcons team that has no Kyle Pitts. It's just Drake London and Alamadeus Zaccheaus. So this is really ugly, and they're going to have to rely on that run game against a very stout run defense in the Pittsburgh Steelers. So give me that +1. Give me that +1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And obviously it's pretty much another pick 'em here. Give me that money line. If you want to keep it safe, you could take that +1. Let's move over to the 4 o'clock games. For the 4 o'clock slate, we're going to start off with the Miami Dolphins and the San Francisco 49ers. Kyle Shanahan protege Mike McDaniel here is coming in to San Francisco, meeting up with his old friends and buddies. This is going to be a whole Kyle Shanahan offense on both sides of the ball. So we're going to see a lot of creativity, probably some points in this one. We will see that line has gone down a point. But if you want the 49ers on the spread, it's -4.5. Very odd number there. Over under is at 45.5. It was at 46.5. And if you want the money line, San Francisco is -195. If you want Dolphins, it's +165 on the money line. And if you think they're going to cover, is at +4.5. So in this game, Shanahan battle, I'm thinking that the San Francisco 49ers are going to apply their dominance here. This is, if we're looking at the stats, Dolphins have failed to cover the spread in 5 out of the last 6 games, and the 49ers have the number 1 rush D and the number 1 scoring defense in the league. So that's going to be the key component here with the San Francisco 49ers at home. Tua Tagovailoa is going to be relied upon to throw that football. I think he's going to have some mistakes. That's going to be very, very critical for the 49ers to win this game. So give me the 49ers on the money line. I am not 100% sure about that cover, so I would probably lean towards to 4.5 in the cover, despite the fact that this says Dolphins have failed to cover. So if we're going to go with that stat in the trend, we're going to go with -4.5 as well. Right, next game, we have the Seattle Seahawks against the Los Angeles Rams, okay? A lot of people are just going to smash this -7 and think things are cool. But what you don't know is that the Seattle Seahawks are literally dreadful in stopping the run. Seattle Seahawks don't cover, worst run D in the league. They are allowing 218 yards per game to running backs, 5.8 yards a carry, and 1.5 TDs. If there's going to be a team that has no quarterback because Matt Stafford is on the IR, they're going to rely on that run game. That's going to be Kyron Williams. That's going to be Cam Akers. They're going to be running the rock at a very high rate. All right, they're trying to keep it out of the hands of the quarterback and Perkins, and they're trying to manufacture long drives. Okay, so I like the under in this game, number 1. Number 2, I like the +7 in the LA Rams. I think they're going to keep things close, but lose the game at the end. They're going to rely on that run game. Maybe they might squeak one out, but if we're looking at stats here, 218 yards per game, 5.8 yards carry to running backs is very, very alarming. But I do think the Seattle Seahawks can squeak this out at the end, all right? This game, we have the Kansas City Chiefs, highly anticipated Chiefs versus Bengal matchup, -2. If you want the Chiefs to cover, that's a pretty decent number. At least they don't give you a hook and a half, but you give you 2 points. That's decent enough to go for. Over and under is at 52.5. It keeps going higher and higher. I see this game being a lot of points scored, a lot of back and forth in this matchup. -135 on the money line if you want the Kansas City Chiefs. On the Bengals side, if you want them to cover, it's at +2. If you want the Bengals to win, it's at +115, all right? This game, I think the boat stops just a little bit for the Kansas City Chiefs. They've been red hot, reeling off a bunch of wins. I think this game here, Joe Burrow shows up in this particular matchup. Jamar Chase is back. Tyler Boyd gets cooking. T. Higgins is on the board. I think things are going to look good for the Cincinnati Bengals on the offensive side of the ball. We get news about Joe Mixon being back as well. I'm smashing this +2, and I'm not afraid to go with that money line. So give me the Cincinnati Bengals over the Kansas City Chiefs. The next game, last game on the 4 o'clock slate, will be the LA Chargers going up against the Las Vegas Raiders. And juice is coming in on that spread for the Las Vegas Raiders. If you want them to win, it's at -2.5. It was at a -2. Over under is at a 49.5. That has gone down. The total has gone down about a point so far. And if you want the Raiders on the money line, it's -140. If you want the Chargers on the money line, is at a +120. All right, so the Chargers came through for us last week. against Arizona. They got that late win, all right? The Magic, these are two teams that have been winning in the last plays of the game in the fourth quarter or in overtime. Both of these teams have been doing that in back-to-back weeks. They set this up perfectly, and I'm going to go with the Vegas side. Give me the Las Vegas Raiders to take the win. A lot of money is going to come in on this Chargers side. They don't understand this number. They don't understand this line. It's going to be a trap. Give me the Raiders. They're going to reel off a couple wins. Obviously, they struggled at the beginning of the season. I think things are getting back to the correct way for the Raiders. They're going to try to fight for that seventh spot for the seventh spot in the playoffs. And I like the Raiders in this game. Hopefully Josh Jacobs gets cleared and he plays in this game. That's only going to bode well for them. And that's going to be a key factor here. Raiders have a running game at least. The Chargers have been struggling on stopping the run. Give me the Raiders money line right here. I'm not sure about the cover, but the juice is coming in and bumping up that cover higher and higher. All right. And then last but not least, we want to close out with the Indianapolis Colts going against the Dallas Cowboys. Plus 10 if you want the Colts to cover. Over under on the 44 if you think the Colts are going to win. That's plus 410. And then Dallas Cowboys minus 10 for them to cover. Minus 520 on the money line. So you have to put $520 to get back 100. All right. So in this game, it's pretty much who you think is going to cover the spread. I do not like what I'm seeing out of Indianapolis Colts. That was an embarrassing performance that we saw against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I have no confidence in them. A lot of people are going to be thinking that way. And if you want to do a teaser and bump that line down to 6.5 and maybe even 3, then yes, fine by me. But I think the Dallas Cowboys at home are going to show their dominance. The fake game for Dallas Cowboys is coming up, but I don't think it's this one here. The Colts are showing up with no heart and no enthusiasm. Matt Ryan is a sitting duck. If they don't get perfect blocking, it's going to be a nightmare. Give me the Dallas Cowboys. Micah Parsons is going to have a field day against these Indianapolis Colts. I love the Cowboys at minus 10 to cover that spread. All right, so thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetJetsD, and I'll be back with another video very soon. All right, peace out.